If you haven't already, please go ahead and click on the subscribe button, and while you're at it, click on that little bell too.
What's up everybody, it's me E-Man from E-Man's Movie Reviews, and today we're going to review The Predator. Alright, let's get right into a quick intro. When a young boy finds some alien technology, a dangerous threat begins to hunt him down. A ragtag team of ex-soldiers band together in an effort to bring down the alien hunter. Alright, enough of that, let's get right into the good.
The good.
One thing that can certainly be appreciated about The Predator is the fact that it does add a little bit more development to the story about the Predator alien race. We get more insight into their actual motivations as to why they do what they do. Along with that, this movie serves to be kind of like a seaboot, which is a sequel that also reboots a movie. So this film does recognize the original Predator and Predator 2, although it would have been nice if it had also included Predators back in 2010. Another positive we can take from this film is that it certainly does not shy away from the bloody violence. The Predator does not hold back when it comes to being a ferocious hunter. While it's not on the level of torture porn that you'd get from a movie like Hostel, the gory violence is pretty graphic. If anything, it certainly reminds you that this alien creature is truly nothing to mess around with. Okay, that's all we have. Let's go right into the bad.
The bad.
First and foremost, the writing for this movie has completely failed in so many areas. The writing bleeds into a bunch of different areas in the film, and let's just start with the plot first. There's so much foreshadowing done in this film that it becomes entirely too predictable. You'll rarely get caught off guard or even be surprised by anything in the film. The Predator also has a couple plot holes that only serve the purpose of conveniently pushing the story forward. For example, you'll have a scene where a character miraculously finds something, and that something ends up being extremely useful in the story later. Furthermore, the film failed to invest more time on showing the real depths of mental health issues with military soldiers. We have a lot of setup for it with the characters, but their mental health issues end up being exploited as a means just to have a corny joke instead. But speaking of bad jokes, this movie is riddled with horrible, corny jokes and even worse timing. I understand that director Shane Black is known for his humor in his films, and I also understand that some action movies oftentimes will have some humor in them. However, in the case of The Predator, I think there's a big difference between adding humor and adding comedy. This movie decided to force a lot of comedy throughout the entire film. There was entirely too much time and energy devoted to trying to make this movie funny. Don't get me wrong, some of the jokes will get some chuckles out of you, but depending on your sense of humor, they will either hit or miss at best. Honestly, it seems like there are a number of scenes that should have just been deleted bloopers, but ended up staying in the movie anyway. With all that said, the writing had yet another victim, and that was the acting. Sadly, I think one of the most affected was probably Sterling K. Brown. Now, he's one of my favorite actors, and if you've seen him in other things like This Is Us or Marshall, then you'll know he's an incredibly talented actor. I think that while he was able to deliver in his performance, the lines he was given were just bad. And seeing a gifted actor perform really horribly written jokes is just an awkward thing to watch. Moving on, and I don't even know if this is worth mentioning, but the special effects or the CGI for some of the aliens in this movie looks so outdated. Thankfully, most of the movie takes place in a dark setting, so it at least tries to mask it a little bit, but it's still noticeable. Alright, enough of that, let's get right into the reason.
The reason.
It's very important that you know that The Predator is an action comedy and not an action horror thriller like the other movies before it. This is one of those movies that movie critics will dislike, but fans will enjoy. I think people will need to understand that there's a big tonal shift with The Predator. Remember the Scream movies? They all had that serious thriller-like tone in them, you know, in regards to being like a slasher film. Well, imagine if you had the first two Scream movies and then all of a sudden for the third installment, you got Scary Movie. Or for you sci-fi fans, imagine if Star Wars Return of the Jedi was replaced with Spaceballs. Could you imagine if the next James Bond film was a slapstick comedy instead? It's totally fine if you want to make a separate parody film, but to insert it directly into the mainstream franchise is just a bad move in my opinion. So when it comes to the rating of The Predator, I've got to give it a 6 out of 10. I think that if you know going into this movie that you're going to get something completely different than what all these other Predator movies have previously set up, then you'll probably have a much better time enjoying this film than I did. Don't get me wrong, this movie will be pleasing to some people because it does sacrifice quality for cheap laughs. And if that falls into your lane of humor, then you'll definitely have a good time with this movie. If you go in with the expectation of seeing a worthy sequel to Arnold Schwarzenegger's Predator film, then I think disappointment will be inevitable. Either way, I'd only recommend this movie to be a matinee watch at best. So you tell me, have you seen The Predator? Do you think that it's a worthy sequel to add to the Predator franchise? Let me know what you thought about the movie in the comments down below and let's talk about it. Thank you very much for joining me, and while you're here, go check out some of my other videos. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I've got more videos and reviews to do for you all, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.